Hello all, this is JC3 from Is This Real? Do you want to start your own podcast? Then look no further than Buzzsprout.com. We here at Green Hour Media use Buzzsprout, and we love the team at Buzzsprout. They are all about helping you succeed. Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform. Follow the link in our show notes to let Buzzsprout know that we sent you. It gets you a $20 paid Amazon gift card if you sign up with a paid plan and helps support our show. Join us and over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout.com to get your message out to the world.
From just above the Keithman Cicalo Studios in Patterson, New Jersey, Green Hour Media is proud to present Is This Real? Tonight, we're going to take a look at the Dyatlov incident. What happened? Now, your host, JC3.
And welcome, everybody, to another episode of Is This Real? Tonight's episode, we have to do somewhat of, mix around, not in the booth. We're not in the booth tonight, so I can't say who's in the booth, but who I have with me on the episode tonight. Obviously, you heard Big Joe on the intro. Say hello to everybody out there in Zoom land, Dad.
Hello, Billy. How are we doing?
We have Roblox as usual. Rody, say hello.
Yo, what's going on, everybody?
And tonight we have the former Don at the desk, Mr. Anthony. How are you? Yeah.
There's no former. I will always be the Don at the desk, and I'm doing just well. Thank you very much.
No Wes tonight, unfortunately. Well, we don't know. He may come. He was walking his dog the last time we heard him. But tonight we're talking.
He got sucked up in the Dyatlov Pass incident, so we don't know. He's another one of the fucking victims.
So tonight, we're talking about the Dyatlov Pass incident, and this incident inspired a movie, gentlemen. It's called The Devil's Pass. Has anyone seen this movie?
No,
I haven't.
I have not either.
Devil's Pass sounds like a gangbang anal film.
Okay.
We're not going to start that tonight. You're going to shut the hell up on my show. All right.
Fair enough.
So, in January of 1959, 9 young Soviet hikers died under mysterious circumstances while trekking through the Ural Mountains in what's known as the Dyatlov Pass incident. A 23-year-old hiker named Igor Dyatlov led a journey to reach the peak of Ortotin, a mountain in the northern Urals of Soviet Russia. The young man brought a team of 8 experienced hikers, many from the Ural Polytechnical School, along with him for the adventure. Before he left, Dyatlov told his sports club that he and his team would send them a telegram as soon as they returned. But that telegram was never sent, and none of the hikers of the so-called Dyatlov Pass incident were ever seen alive again. So just real quick, guys, how many of you guys have actually heard of this before before this week's episode?
No,
I can't honestly say I've never heard of it.
No,
I didn't hear
nobody.
about
Right?
it till first time I heard about this was 2:30 this afternoon when you texted me. So, no idea.
I've heard of this before. I've never actually studied it until this. To be honest, it's very. The more videos I watch of it, and the more I learn about this, it's very, very mysterious, and of course, this is what we're talking about. But when their bodies were found in the coming weeks, their strange and gruesome injuries left investigators baffled and repulsed. Some were missing eyes, others were missing. Another was missing her tongue, and many were struck by a force comparable to that of a speeding car. But nobody can make any sense, and they did not have injuries on their body to prove any of that. Like the one injury, the guy had broken ribs, but there was no injury on the outside of his body. Like there was like he had broken ribs, but it didn't look like he was hit from the outside of his body.
Yeah, you see, this whole thing, reading what I've read about it so far, the only thing I can come up with, and it says that it can get really bad out where these guys were hiking. It's very, very bad out there, and the winds can whip up to 81 meters or whatever it is, and it happens mainly at night. Excuse me. I don't understand, if you're an experienced hiker, why you would put yourself in that situation and not be prepared for it. Now, the story goes, they ripped themselves from the inside of the tent. They ripped out of the tent to go to find out what was going on. To me, this screams, and I might not be popular with everybody, but it screams of extraterrestrial, because with the missing eye, the missing this, the missing tongue, how many cases have we come across that had that? That's just. I guess maybe I'm reaching here, but I think that's where I'm gonna tend to go with this story. Now, what say you?
Like I said, there's a couple theories, and we'll get into them later about that. One of them is extraterrestrial. One thing that I found, like I'll continue with the story after Josh and Anthony talk about what they might think or anything like that, at least from the first part of the story of what they heard. But Ant, go.
I mean,
wait, hold on, gentlemen. Hold on. Mr. West is here. Right now, he's connected to audio.
Titties.
Hey, Mr. West. We're in the middle of recording. How about the Dyatlov pass incident? Hello, Mr. West.
Yo.
Hey, West.
Hey.
What's
And
going on, West?
Hey.
So
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can all hear you.
Awesome. There's everybody's faces. That's what I was looking for.
So, yeah, go on, Ant.
I don't know. I mean, okay, so you have some of them with they were found, months or whatever. They found months afterwards, right? They had
who are we talking about?
The Dyatlov Pass incident.
Oh, the movie, yo.
Yeah,
they went missing. They went missing out in what was it, in the 40s or something like that?
1959.
50s.
Yes.
You were talking, Anthony. Yeah. Sorry, I had to just catch up to speed.
Anyway, some of them here. Okay, here's the thing: the ones that were missing shit, like their eyes and their mouth or whatever, the tongue, you could always blame them to hungry wildlife. You know what I mean? Like a small critter, let me take that for a snack real quick, and been about its way. You have
after they were dead, though, right? We're talking.
Probably, we don't know, but some of them with broken bones, cracked skulls, and ribs. They launched an investigation, opened this up 2 years ago to try and figure it out. 3 years ago at this point, try and figure it out again, and they concluded that it was an avalanche that took these poor fuckers out.
Well, I mean, to be honest, yeah, they're saying that
it was a special kind of. It's called a shelf avalanche. Some of the people, if they were standing outside the tent for whatever reason, they got hit with the force of a Mack truck. That right there can totally fuck a person up and break ribs without or break bones without the sign.
And why did they rip? Then why were they ripping out of the?
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr.
Harsh to win seal. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics.
Well, I'll give you a reason for that. I think one of them went fucking stir crazy. You have 9 people up in the mountains. It's fucking cold. Now, I understand they're Russians and they wash their bowls with ice water, but it's fucking unbearably cold. You're going to tell me that 9 motherfuckers, one of them had to have cracked. And one of them probably had a fucking knife on them and said, "Everyone get the fuck away. Or I'm gonna fucking start icing you, motherfuckers."
Okay,
Everybody
first of all,
buck naked
hold on,
now.
hold on. Again, I want to continue the story, but what I wanted, I could understand that if like if they saw the bodies in different places, and they had a bunch of tracks everywhere. But later in the story, if you're reading the story, they walked in a straight line away from the tent. They all walked in the same path in the straight line away from the tent. There was one track.
All of them died of hypothermia. Like that's like
no. Suppose they died of hypothermia. There's no.
How do you know?
Yeah, but see, my point, Anthony. I can understand what you're saying about the avalanche because it's it happens out there. But what I can't understand is if they get out of the tent, they cut through the tent, and they're walking in a straight line. At that point, what made him cut out of that tent? You can't. I mean, I know your theory is one guy had a knife or whatever.
Okay, well, what if they were buried in the tent? They couldn't get out through the regular way, so they felt like this side is kind of loose. Let's cut our way out and just fucking go. Like if a fucking
possibility.
Say they have the tent up, right? They're all hanging out in the tent. They're all eating their borscht and they're reading their fucking Lenin and all that shit, right?
And eating their sausages and shit.
That's right. And there's like three of them sitting up against the wall, and that's when this ice slab of a truck hits the tent, rocks them, fucks them up, right? Right there, you have an impact through a wall. Granted, it's a tented wall, but still, you're getting hit by something with that much force, but it's not going to break the skin. It's going to break the insides up. They fall down, they get all fucked up, and then they realize that the rest of the tent's pretty fucked up too, and this is the only way out. Let's cut this.
Hold on.
Get out.
Hold on. I'm going to continue with the story because I could see your point. I can see that. Honestly, truthfully, I can see that. But this is where it gets interesting. So they then this is a little down. So the discovery of this is the discovery of the bodies. They discovered 8 or 9 set of footprints from the team, many of them clearly made by people with either nothing, socks, or a single shoe on their foot. These tracks led to the edge of a nearby woods, almost a mile away from the camp.
Some of them.
What? Okay. At the forest edge, under a large cedar, the investigators found the remains of a small fire, and the first 2 bodies, Yuri. I chart because I don't know this guy's last name. He was 23, and Yuri Doroshenko, 21. Despite temperatures of -13 to -22 degrees on the night of their deaths, both men's bodies were found shoeless and wearing only underwear. They then found the next 3 bodies, those of Dyatlov, Zenata Kolmogorova, 22, and Rustem Slobodin, 23, who died on their way back to the camp from the cedar tree. And those are the pictures of the bodies there. While the circumstances were odd, investigators found that the causes of death were clearly all the hikers. They said, were clear. Sorry, all the hikers they said had perished from hypothermia. Their bodies showed no indication of severe external damage beyond what had been inflicted by the cold. However, this didn't explain Doroshenko was brown purple in complexion, or why he had gray foam coming from his right cheek and a gray liquid coming from his mouth. Furthermore, this didn't explain why the hands of the 2 hikers under the cedar were scraped away and the branches above them were torn down, as if the 2 men had tried desperately to seek shelter from something or someone in the tree. Meanwhile, Slobodin had head injuries consistent with someone falling and hitting their head over and over and over again, and Kolmogorova had a baton-shaped bruise on her side. These 2 hikers, as well as the others found by this point, were also generally underdressed and wearing some of each other's clothes, only as supporting the idea that they fled suddenly without adequate preparation into the freezing night, despite being experienced hikers. It wasn't until what?
I was gonna say, what if the injuries to the 2 guys that were found under the cedar tree, they were attacked by like a bear or something, so they climbed the fucking tree and they froze up there.
Is that a
the
fucking teardrop tattoo, Roblox?
No, he doesn't have a teardrop tattoo.
Yo, I thought he. Oh, okay.
Or it was a Bigfoot. But we'll get into that later. It wasn't until the other 4 bodies were found 2 months later that the mystery deepened even more. The remaining hikers were discovered buried under the snow in a ravine 75 meters deeper into the woods than the cedar, known as the Dyatlov Pass Den, and their bodies told even more gruesome stories than those of the other members in the group. Nikolai Thibault Brignoles, 23, suffered significant skull damage in the moments before his death, while Ludmila Dubinina, 20, and Semyon Zolotaryev, 38, had major chest fractures that could only have been caused by immense force comparable to that of a car crash. In the most gruesome...
let me ask you a question. When they found the bodies, were the bodies buried under snow, or were they on top of the snow? Or
it says
Somebody said they were buried.
Yeah, it was buried under the snow in a ravine 75 meters deeper than this. But again, you're talking about months later.
Yeah, but still, even if it was like directly afterwards, if another avalanche, they got caught up in another avalanche because this is fucking January in Russia. Chances are it's going to snow a little bit and shit's going to fall down. If they got caught in another avalanche and then like fell off of like a higher peak or something like that and fell down the mountain into the ravine, that's going to crush your chest right there. That's going to severely fuck you up.
Yeah, avalanche would definitely do that. That's for sure.
I have survived an avalanche. It is not fun.
What?
I'll be out there, bro. I'll be out there.
You know what?
Yes, you are out there.
You know what? I believe it.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hello, nerds. Come listen to the History Nerds United podcast, and let's make history fun again. We interview today's best authors, whether they are established Pulitzer Prize winners or someone debuting their first book. Let us show you that history is not a boring class you took in high school, but a place where the best stories come from. And we don't just cover history, we also love to chat about true crime, biographies, memoirs, and so much more. So head on over to History Nerds United and let us introduce you to your new favorite book and learn the story behind the story.
History Nerds United.
Okay.
It's my word against yours. It's my word against yours.
Okay.
I was there.
I survived an avalanche too. Joey once fell on me.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick, short little break. We'll be right back.
Oh, dear God.
Hi, this is Anthony from Multimedia Mafia. If you love what we do and you want to know more about us, head on over to greenarrowmedia.org. On there, you're going to find links to both Multimedia Mafia show and our sister show, Is This Real?, which is all about conspiracies and aliens and all sorts of wonderful stuff like that. If you want to support us, head on over to our merch page where you can buy a hat or a mug. We have lots of different designs and cool colors. If you want to meet us, we got pictures up there. We have a little biography, and you can even stream the show right through the website. And hey, don't forget to check out our YouTube link where you can check out all the filming that we do right on our YouTube page. Check us out, greenarrowmedia.org.
And we are back. Now, there's one more person that we didn't get to their body. Which one I think is the most gruesome of them? That's Dubina. She was missing her tongue, eyes, part of her lips, facial tissue, and a fragment of her skull bone. I don't think wildlife is going to eat skull bone.
I think so.
You never know.
I think so.
I mean,
see, I have a problem with the wildlife thing. I do. Because if it was wildlife, okay, if it was a bear is not going to just take an eye out. A bear's going to mutilate that corpse. Okay, if it was a squirrel or a chipmunk or whatever little creatures they got over there, that I could understand. Okay.
And they found the body of Alexander, which is another person, and he was in the same exact location as her, but he didn't have any of the same kind of wounds at all.
Yeah, so that makes that right there. I mean, why would the animal take her and not him? You know what I mean?
I'm still gonna go with the avalanche thing because the avalanche could probably like that amount of force could probably like rip your freaking face off and shit.
Well, what Dad said, if that did it to her, it could do it to him also, and it didn't. He was only.
Could also be after effects. Because don't forget, if something happened to them and then they're left there to die, and then the avalanche happened afterwards, you know, that could be a totally different scenario. That could explain some of the bruises or stuff like that. Some of the things that weren't seen, but you know, damage is done to the bodies.
Here's a question. Was any of these people found further away by themselves, or did they determine which person was the last one to die?
Well, I'm just going to get into that. He goes, the second group of bodies suggested that the hikers had died at distinctly different times because they appeared to have been making use of the clothes of the people who had died before them. So basically,
something tells me that you had this group of people stuck in the fucking Russian mountains, freezing cold, get hit by an avalanche, and then they argued about what to do next. And some people were like, we stay and we finish the trip, or and the other people were like, fuck you, we're leaving. Other people were, and basically a couple of people outnumbered the others.
And then they said strip. And then they said strip.
Maybe there was an attack. So they decided to take him out. Like, you know, fuck this person up and we're leaving you in the snow, Yuri. Want to be a douche about it. Well, the rest of us are going to get the fuck on.
Is this happening during the avalanche or after the avalanche?
I don't think all that can happen during an avalanche. There's a lot of snow.
I don't think it can happen
There's
post-avalanche either because when you're in an avalanche, you're covered. You're digging your way out. You don't give a rat's ass who's
you
with
don't even know which way up is.
Exactly. You could be digging down thinking you're digging up. Okay,
I don't. That's the case.
Well,
what if a couple of them had gone stir crazy by that point.
No, but that throws anything. That first of all, with an avalanche, you're not walking on top of the fucking avalanche. You're gonna sink. Exactly. All right, you're gonna sink into the snow. So they're not walking from everything. The besides the tent being ripped, everything in the campsite was pristine. The only thing is these people left. If there was an avalanche, the tent would have been covered in snow. The fire. There was a fire. They suggested there was a fire at one of the areas in which these people died. So meaning that they set up camp.
I think it's most of it's because of inexperience, only for the fact that some of them are young. Some of them are what, like 20, 23? Yeah.
From like 20 to 28.
And like them going through a hill, mountain pass, whatever, even if they have a little bit of experience, just seems crazy to go through if you know like there's storm or trails or stuff like that. They could have easily gotten lost at some point because if they were
snow leopards out there.
Okay, if they're trying to walk through a straight line, they can easily get disoriented if there is a snowstorm. If they have very low visibility, then a straight line can turn into a squiggly line, and that's where some of them could have ended up even before the site.
True.
Yo, hold up. But isn't there like something like that goes on saying that there was like radiation or something found at these sites?
That's what I was just about to get to. So he goes, perhaps most mysterious of all was the clothing of both Kolevatov and Dubinina showed evidence of being radioactive. Due to evidence like this, even with more bodies found, the mystery of Dyatlov Pass incident only grew more baffling. The Soviet government.
There is one thing. Now,
go on.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Well, I was going to say, like the avalanche, and I've read, isn't the standard like bury everything in snow. It's more like a slab avalanche. So think of like a giant ice cube sliding down a hill. It doesn't break up, but it hits everything at once. It's still an avalanche because it's sliding down the fucking hill. So that's what it is. That's why everything looked pristine, because it wasn't the type of powdery snow bury avalanche. It was basically a giant ice cube that slid down the mountain and basically hit the camp. And that's what.
Well, then
that's definitely.
If that was the case, then the camp would have been fucked up too. The camp was in pristine area. Like literally, they had. I saw the pictures of the camp. Besides the tent being ripped, and the tent was still in the ground. They had chairs on the outside. They had the fire, the chairs around, the fire camp. And, it was like they just got up and left with that. If that was the case and you had ice slabs coming down, it would have you would have had like a murder scene there. Everything would have been
the campsite would have been disturbed too, which is why it makes it a mysterious situation. Why did they leave camp fully set up, go further from where they were, and then possibly end up in an avalanche? Because if I read correctly, they ended up in some type of ravine, fell through, and then there could have been an avalanche afterwards that covered them.
It could have been hypnotized.
I have a comment from somebody here who seems to know that area pretty well. If you let me indulge, I could read this to you.
Yes, please indulge.
He says, I am from what used to be the Eastern Bloc. I spent my time in Army and slept in he's talking as a Russian, so you're going to have to bear with me. And slept in tent at 20 degrees Celsius below zero. No. So I could evaluate this case with extra knowledge. These people left the tent that evening when they were just preparing for the night, not during the night when they were sleeping. When you sleep in a tent in a sleeping bag in those cold conditions, you leave all your clothes on, just change them for dry ones. To replace the wet clothes from a day's activity, you take your boots off, never leave them on. You put on dry socks and you get your sleeping bag like this. One of the group was fully clothed with 4 pairs of socks on his feet, which indicates he was ready to go to sleep. The others were just changing. That is why they were not fully clothed. If they escaped the tent during the night, they would have been fully clothed, but without boots, which makes sense. Now, he goes on by saying there was a full plate of white bacon, neatly sliced, prepared for dinner. They were attacked before they had a chance to have the dinner. White bacon is usually the only food, whatever. When they were getting out, the attackers fled. However, the bikers fled in panic down the slope to the forest. This wasn't an intended robbery or intended murder as such. I think with this person, it goes on longer, but what they're giving us the background of what you would do in a situation like that. Like you wouldn't see if they were attacked in the middle of the night while they were all sleeping, they would have got out fully clothed, but would have no boots. And what were they doing? Not clothed, you know. So this, wherever this was, happened immediately. This happened to them.
Maybe this was maybe these people went out with like someone with one of these people was like intending to kill the rest type of shit. Like leave the borscht, take the pierogi type shit. Like they were all going to be taken out.
Well, here's a theory.
Maliciously.
Hold on. Here's a theory that many people. So early on, many Soviets suspected that the hikers' deaths were the result of an ambush by the local Mansi tribesmen. A sudden attack would account for the way the hikers fled their tents, their disarray, and the damage done to the second group of bodies. But that explanation fizzled quickly. The Mansi people were largely peaceful, and the evidence of Dyatlov Pass didn't make much sense or support violent human conflict. For one, the damage done to the hikers' bodies exceeded the blunt force trauma one human could inflict on another. There was also no evidence of any footprints on the mountain beyond those made by the hikers themselves. Investigators then conceived of a swift, violent avalanche, the sound of snow collapsing, an early warning of the deluge to come would have frightened the hikers out of their tents in a state of undress and sent them springing into the tree line. An avalanche would also have been powerful enough to inflict the injuries that killed the second group of hikers. But the physical evidence of an avalanche just wasn't there, and locals familiar with the terrain later said that such a natural disaster simply wouldn't have made sense in the Dyatlov Pass. There was also the fact that the investigators found the bodies. They noted no evidence of that an avalanche had occurred anytime recently in the region. There was no damage in the tree lines, and the searchers observed no debris. Moreover, no avalanches have been recorded at that site before, and nor have been there since. Furthermore, the experienced hikers have made camp in a spot that was vulnerable. Furthermore, would the experienced hikers have made camp in a spot that was vulnerable to an avalanche? So that's
absence of evidence does not mean evidence of absence. Just because they have not recorded an avalanche in that area doesn't mean it's never happened before.
That's true, but there was no evidence of an avalanche occurring in that area when they found them.
Then why are we talking about an avalanche if there's no evidence of it?
Well, So
that's what was concluded as of 2021.
yeah, the avalanche
Because-
hypothesis was characteristic of most of the theories put forward in the early days of mystery. It offered a quick, superficially plausible solution to some aspects of the puzzle, but utterly failed to account for others.
Yeah, you take that right the hell out at that point. Yeah.
Well, there's that, but I have an article published January 28th, 01, Mechanisms of Slab Avalanche Release and Impact in the Dyatlov Pass Incident in 1959. The article goes on to talk about how, in a very scientific way, a slab avalanche could have occurred in 1959 on the Dyatlov Trail. So,
well, I'm going to use the words of one of my favorite people in one of my favorite movies. Scientifically, it's said that an elephant can hang by its tail from a daisy on the cliff, but using common sense, we know that didn't happen. That can't happen. So
it reminds me of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Science is a liar sometimes.
So here are some more theories about this. In fact, we are actually going to go to a second break, and we'll be right back after.
Hello, hola, konnichiwa. I have a very important question for you. Is this real? That's the motto of our weekly podcast. We question everything from the paranormal to conspiracies, even the extraterrestrials. There's no topic we won't dive into. So tune in and listen to our show every Sunday at 8 p.m. And remember, folks, question everything.
And we are back. So some other theories, gentlemen, tonight. There's a lot of different theories out there about this, actually. So with official theories leaving lots unexplained, many alternative explanations for the Dyatlov Pass incident have been put forward in the 6 decades since. While many of these are highly elaborated, some are decisively concrete and straightforward. Some try to explain the hiker's strange behavior and the lack of clothing with an in-depth look at the effects of hypothermia. Irrational thinking and behavior is a common early sign of hypothermia, and as a victim approaches death, they may paradoxically perceive themselves to be overheating, causing them to remove their clothes. The trauma to the second group of bodies in this version of events is caused by a stumbling plunge over the edge of a ravine. Yet hypothermia doesn't explain why the hikers left their warm tents in a panic for the frigid world outside in the first place. Other investigators began to test the theory that the deaths were a result of some argument among the group that got way out of hand, possibly related to a romantic encounter. There was a history of dating between several of the members. That could explain some of the lack of clothes, but people who knew the ski group said they were largely harmonious. Moreover, the Dyatlov hikers would have been no more able to inflict the damage to their compatriots than the Mansi. The force...
Can't we just... Oh, sorry.
The force involved in some of the deaths was, again, greater than that any which human could inflict. Go on, Anthony.
Can't we? I mean, I don't know. In most cases, I'm like, okay, this is some. I see evidence for this. I see evidence for that, and it's doubtful. But like, I just think these people have the worst camping trip ever. Like, can we just say Murphy's Law happened with these people, where it's like, all right, these 9 Russian people organized a gangbang in the woods, and then shit got crazy. There was an avalanche. A couple people got crazy. They're crazy. It's frozen. They march out of the woods. They're attacked by a bear. They're hit with another avalanche. Like, anything that absolutely could go wrong went wrong in the shittiest way possible. It's like every time they
I think the thing that like really
God
baffles
them
me
down further.
gotta be the fact that old girl was found with radiation. Like, how does that?
2
how
of the
you
people
even
were found with
explain that?
radiation.
That's my problem with the whole thing.
How many? 2?
Okay. 2 people were found.
But what level of radiation are you talking about? Like, because
Como
there are
quiera, it don't
common
matter, bro.
things-
Like, it don't matter. Like, how you going to explain that all these people went on the same trip and two of them popped up with radiation when they were
Well, hold
dead.
on a
Like,
second.
how does that make any type of
Technically,
sense?
well, technically speaking, if you eat a banana, you have some radiation in you, and you would test you wouldn't test positive because it's so minute. What if they were using something that had a radiation? I don't know. It gave
Then that
off
would
some
come up
sort
in
of
the theory.
mild radiation.
Somebody
drugs?
would know
But
that.
what if maybe drugs or some shit? Like there's got to be a natural reason why radiation would have been present.
Well, as it goes on, with humans effectively ruled out as the culprits behind the Dyatlov Pass incident, though there are theories that the KGB or murderous prison escapees were at fault. Calm down, Anthony. Some began to posit non-human assailants. Some began to claim that the hikers were killed by a menk, a kind of Russian Yeti, to account for the immense force and power necessary to cause the injuries to three of the hikers. Now, the theory is popular among those who focus on the damage to Bina's face, while most explain her missing tissue by positing it a visit. That doesn't sound right, but that is positing a visit from a small scavenger, or perhaps decay resulting from her partial submersion in a watery under snow stream. Mank proponents seem a more sinister predator at work.
So they're just gonna say that a Yeti did this before a freaking actual scavenger.
Well, if you look at there's a photo from one of the cameras, and I to our listeners out there, please go and look at this photo of the Dyatlov Pass incident. It does look like what seems to me Bigfoot in the distance.
No.
What do you mean no?
What does that look like to you?
To me, it looks like every other bundled up Russian asshole in that time period. Look at any of those people in these photographs who went there to look for the bodies and all the pictures and shit. They're all dressed the same way, dark clothes, and they're all bundled up as tight as can be. Not to mention there was the Mansi people who were very, they didn't fuck around. They didn't come down and hurt anybody, but they dressed. You look at pictures of them, like I was just Googling, they had fucking parkas up like this. Everybody looks the same when they're covered in dark shit to stay warm.
I disagree. That does not look like a person at all.
That definitely doesn't look like a person to me. That's just my opinion. To me, it looks like, somebody was scared. He turned around and whipped the camera.
I'm assuming this is the camera. This is the picture you're talking about.
Yeah. That looks. No, to me, it look at it, Anthony. It looks exactly like every other, whatchamacallit, every other Bigfoot photo. Same position, everything.
We don't have very many Bigfoot photos. We have the film that was made and a couple of pictures from that. But you look at that thing and you could see like there's fur. It looks like some matting's going on. No one's out there rocking a mink coat and getting it all fucked up. That guy has like that Bigfoot footage kind of looks real because it reacts real. This is a blurry ass picture. Who the fuck knows what that is? It's someone standing in the distance. Is that someone a Yeti? Well, I don't know. I don't, because if you're looking at this picture, it doesn't seem like it's too, like I'm thinking a Yeti is a big fucking thing, like 6, 8, 10 feet tall. This thing looks about average height. It looks just like one of the other guys wearing his, coat and shit, and he's going ahead of the trail to see if there's anyone there. I mean, here's the other thing.
But how could you tell when I'm not convinced. Snow pile and he's standing next to a really tree? You can't tell if he's average height or not. It just looks like it's average height. You're looking at a photo that's taken out at least 50 feet, probably a little bit more, and blurry as fuck, and it's someone bundled up, or it could be someone with dark, hair and stuff like that. It looks like there's a good several inches of snow on the floor, so you can't sit there and say that person is average height. That person could be 7 foot tall for all you fucking know.
Okay, all right. I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I'm just saying
he's halfway up the fucking tree.
It's not halfway up the tree. It's standing in the tree, standing right next to the tree. All I'm saying is that there's not anything here that's giving me reasonable doubt to believe that that's a Yeti. I don't see it. Also, take this. Aren't they supposed to blend in with their fucking environment like the abominable snowman and the Yeti? they would have white fur, just like so they wouldn't be seen when they're scurrying about. This thing has black fur. What kind of a fucking animal would evolve the opposite of its natural surroundings to the color of its hide?
Maybe it was
None.
different.
So not only did we get a Yeti, we also got the special Yeti.
Yes.
I
Different.
can't. No.
Well,
we got the
Remember,
anti-albino Yeti.
Joey
makes
said
no
it
sense.
best. Logic does not run in this show.
Thank you.
Any type of scenario could happen whatsoever.
Or in that family.
Thank you. Anywho, other sleuths point to the reports of small amounts of radiation detected on some of the bodies, leading to wild theories that the hikers may have been killed by some sort of secret radioactive weapon after stumbling into secret government testing. Those who
That might be true.
favor this idea stress the strange appearance of the bodies at their funerals. The corpses had a slightly orange, withered cast. But had the radiation been caused death, more than modest levels would have been registered when the bodies were examined. The corpses' orange hue isn't surprising given the frigid conditions in which they sat for weeks. They were partially mummified in the cold.
That makes sense.
The secret weapon explanation is popular because it's partially supported by the testimony by another hiking group, one camping 50 kilometers away from Dyatlov Pass team on the same night. This other group spoke of strange orange orbs floating in the sky around Dyatlov, a site proponents of this theory interpret as distinct explosions. The hypothesis goes that the sound of the weapon drove the hikers from their tents into a panic. Half closed, the first group died by hypothermia while attempting to take shelter from the blast by waiting near the tree line. The second group, having seen the first group freeze, determined to go back to their belongings, but fell victim to hypothermia too, while the third group got caught in a fresh blast further into the forest and died from their injuries. Lev Ivanov, the chief investigator of the Dyatlov Pass incident, said, "I suspected at the time and am almost sure now that these bright flying spheres had a direct connection to the group's death." When he was interviewed by a small Kazakh newspaper in 1990, censorship and secrecy in the USSR forced him to abandon this line of inquiry. Ooh.
We're saying that aliens could have done it.
Secret government weapon for the USSR.
Sure. I won't ever rule out the possibility that the government, any government, was testing something and there was collateral damage because someone happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. I completely can buy that over anything else. I mean, maybe they were testing out, like radiation bullets, and one zinged her on the arm, and Bob's your uncle. There you go. She's got radiation on her. Who the fuck knows what it could be? I would just, huh?
Did that scare them from the tent?
Oh, the blast.
Probably. Yeah, they're blowing shit up all the way up there.
Let me ask you this way. Hold on. Put yourself in
it is
tent.
1950s too, so they could be testing nukes or something out there.
Okay.
Exactly.
Put yourself in the tent in the middle of the woods, and you hear a large explosion in the distance. Dude, are you gonna open the tent up and look out and see what's going on?
Yes, I am.
Can I just answer it this way? Because this is truthful.
Okay.
Let me just answer it this way. I have literally been sleeping in my bedroom at home and heard gunshots outside of the window on Garrison Ave and rolled over and went, I'm all right. Because minding your own business costs you $0.
You're right.
You're right.
But now,
with that said, probably not. If I'm in that scenario, right? If I chose to go exploring in the fucking mountains of Russia and I hear a boom, well, that's not natural. You would have to get up and like check it the fuck out, because
what would you do exactly? Okay, so give me this scenario again.
That boom could cause an avalanche.
Put yourself
That
in that
boom
tent.
could be an avalanche.
Put
I
yourself
think
in
the
that tent.
avalanche theory is out, Eric. The avalanche, no avalanche.
Okay.
We don't know that.
Put yourself in that tent. It's the middle of the night. You hear the boom. What's your next move?
Everyone is scrambling.
Adam
Some
Cole.
people are huh?
Adam Cole.
So everyone is scrambling. Everyone's panicking. You know, Boris has to pull out a Natasha. They both have to get their clothes on. Everyone's going fucking crazy.
Can you stop generalizing Russian names?
My point is, everyone's going fucking crazy to get out of the tent.
Asshole.
And then Igor over here said, fuck it, I'll make my way out, and just rips himself out.
I totally
Think about it,
disagree
though.
with that theory.
If we're all if there's 9 of us hanging out in a tent, and all of a sudden, we have
First
to
of
get out
all-
in a hurry, and everyone's panicking to fight their way out of the tent. I'm cutting my way out. I'm gonna find a way to just open this bitch up so I can get on the outside of this tent.
Wait a minute.
Maybe it was Igor or Yuri who did that.
I'm going nowhere. I'm going nowhere in the woods in a tent with you. Let's just put it out there.
I'm not white. I'm not going to trails and stuff like that. Sorry.
Wait. You didn't come down to the seaside and do the trails? You were at the seaside with the trails, weren't you?
That's different from going hiking in the hills of Russia.
Yeah, seriously.
Well,
Only way that
the next time we go to Russia, I'll make sure we don't go into the fucking trails, you dumbass.
The only way that Island Beach trails could be dangerous remotely is if a big fucking storm was passing over and you just happen to be out there.
First of all, fuck you. There was fox there, and last weekend, Isaiah and I saw fox trails.
Oh, you saw a fox. Now I understand they're dangerous. They're animals.
That's
but
why I
they
brought my
also
fucking stick.
They come up to your
They're
shit.
fox, bro. Fox aren't gonna do shit to you.
Unless like 100 of them attack you at the same time.
And
The
then next
worst
time
can
you
get is
come up
bit
to a
by one
fucking
that you can
fox
step
and just say,
on.
"Oh, good puppy." No.
I'm not. No, fuck that. Because
First of all, I'm not gonna come
foxes
into
are-
a fox. That shit could have fucking rabies for all I know, bro.
So it's still
Exactly.
dangerous.
Exactly.
The point is, you can kick a motherfucker away. All a fox is a dog with cat DNA. It's programmed like a cat. It was God's artistic day when he was making that.
Excuse me?
My point is,
Can we
everyone
move
was
along?
getting the fuck out of the tent. Everyone was getting out of the tent. Everyone was panicking. Sergey whipped out his buck knife and made his way out of the tent because I
Jesus
know that's
Christ.
something Josh would do. You know, I know that's something Josh would do. Josh would sit there and go, "Fuck you and your
Everybody's.
tent. I'll buy you another one at
and then you just see Josh
Walmart."
First off,
breaking
Josh
his
would
way
never be in
through.
the fucking woods.
And if he was in the woods, he would just be like
No
what happened
way.
in Vermont. He would have guns hidden in the trees.
Like the
You're not
Kevin
supposed
Hart
to tell
joke.
people my
Gun
secrets.
compartment.
All right. So
Oh.
I don't know. To me, I'll go around. Josh, we'll start with you. What do you feel about this this incident?
I gotta say, I feel like this is a giant amalgamation of just different things happening all at once to the same group of people. Like, I think I saw a movie once that had the same kind of scenario where like everything happened at the same exact time, but it was like 6 or 7 different scenarios and they all collided at the same exact moment. So I kind of feel like this is the same situation because it's weird that you can't sit there and pinpoint exactly what happened, even though you could technically put together a timeline just of everything that happened. But like, they could have been scared of something, they could have been attacked, it could have been technically a robbery or even an explosion. Like I said, anything could have caused it. I can't say definitively what the hell is going on or even what I think. It's huge ass mumbo jumbo right now.
Yeah, dude, that shit's called Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, motherfucker, it will go wrong.
First of all, that's called the Keola Law. Second of all, Anthony, go on. What is your opinion?
I think it's the lack of evidence that makes me sit there and go, I don't know. I can't look at one picture of a Bigfoot and think it was a Bigfoot. I can't see, that one chick had radiation on her, 2 people had some radiation on them. What level is the radiation? Or are they like, is it really, was it really high? Like, because that would be something noticeable. Or is it something that in passing, maybe they ate the wrong mushroom growing out of the ground or something? Who knows? So I can't look at that and go, that's aliens. My point is, I'm not going to the extreme with anything. I try to make sure that there's a logical and sound uh, uh, explanation for everything. Even if there are still questions, the idea that it's rooted in reality is where I'm going to naturally go first. So give me the evidence. They were mauled by something. There's a Bigfoot picture. They have radiation from an alien. It's too big of a leap for me. I think I agree with Josh. Everything that could have went wrong did go wrong. Someone booked the wrong tickets, and they decided to go on this trip, and it was the wrong thing to do. And that's their ass. They're on a T-shirt now. You know what I'm saying?
Eric.
Well, I'm gonna be the complete opposite of Anthony on that end, and I will be the extremist. And because on top of it, I will say that I do not know what happened because I was not there. I was in Canada that night. Anyways, because I don't know what happened, I'm gonna blame the Illuminati.
Is he on the same program with us?
I don't fucking know. What the fuck? What the
We
fuck
just
is
solved
going
3
on?
mysteries, but this wasn't one of them.
I think he finally cracked and started smoking crack. What the fuck was that?
How are you gonna blame the Illuminati? They weren't even talked about. Anyway, Dad, go on, please. This is.
I don't know what this. I gotta follow that. I swear to Christ.
What?
All right. I don't look. There's a lot here that doesn't seem right. My opinion basically would be I don't believe it was Bigfoot. Okay.
Yes, I agree with that.
I don't believe it was an avalanche because there's no evidence of an avalanche. However, I know this is far out there, but I'm gonna, because of 2 things, because of the tongue and the eye of certain victims being ripped out or whatever. I think that what the fuck is he doing?
Anthony and him are having a finger war.
Okay.
Just go on. Just don't pay attention.
I think in my mind that they were in the woods and there was something there when they saw the orange orbs. And I do believe this is extraterrestrial. I do. And has all the markings to me of an extraterrestrial event. Same as the cow mutilations in Utah. So that would be my idea. Because I don't, that and the fact that there was radiation. If there's no radiation, then I'm going to jump on the Josh bandwagon where everything happened at one time. But because there's radiation there, and only on 2 victims, and because there was a bright orange orb in the sky and stuff like that, I do believe that something spooked them in that night, and they tried to get out of there, and they met their fate through extraterrestrial means. That's my opinion.
Well, Dad, I think there's a way that your opinion and Josh's opinion can marry each other. I think everyone's opinion is right, actually. So there was a bomb that the government was testing, so they all ran out of their tents. One of them freaked on the other and tried to kill him, and then they were attacked by Bigfoot, so they ran, and then the aliens came, and then after the aliens came,
hold on.
Uh-oh.
I'm out. Oh no, there I am. Hold on.
But all I'm saying is, prove me wrong. How do we know that
you can't prove me wrong either.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying like the idea that could actually happen is legit. It could be a legitimate working theory because no one can prove me wrong. That
if you watch the movie Devil's Pass, every wild scenario is exactly that. They end up like they like try to recreate Yatlov's Pass, and they go missing. What's it called? An avalanche happens. Then they get separated. They end up finding a freaking military base, and in this military base, they find aliens and go time traveling.
Okay.
And they were the bodies found at Dyatlov Pass. according to
I
the
believe
movie.
I believe in the future you're going to find a lot more evidence of this kind
Wow,
of
this is a
activity.
cold. This is literally a cold case.
No, I'm talking about different cases
Ah,
and cases to come. I'm sorry. I just think this is way too much shit's going on that we're not being told. That's my opinion.
I think something happened,
Thanks.
the Illuminati.
and it's not the Illuminati. For fuck's
You
sake,
don't know
it's not
that.
the Illuminati.
You don't know that.
I do think something strange. I don't know if it's a Bigfoot. As far as the radiation on the bodies, I think they could have been doing something or trailing or hiking in this area, and that area, again, it's Russia in the 50s, could have had radiation in it because of some type of testing, because Russia doesn't tell anybody any type of secrets. So I think they might have caught some radiation, and this might have been a secret government area. But again, what it's very strange to me, and could completely prove everyone's theory if there was other footprints found besides the own victims. There was no other type of footprints or trails from anything except for the victims. Now, if there was an avalanche after they died or something like that, it would have covered their footprints too. Or you could have had a trail of the slab avalanche and seen that, but there was no other trail of anything else in the snow, which is very fucking weird. It could be aliens, but again, I don't know if that area is a hyperactive zone for extraterrestrial activity.
Right.
So I don't know. It's a very strange case, and I'll be honest, I'm gonna be up in the air on this one. I'm as Joshua says, I'm gonna be on the fence because
I agree. Fence.
I don't know what the fuck's going on with this. All right, because you had some. Fuck you. There's gonna be some. Some people died because of hypothermia. Other people died and were completely mutilated. So
right.
I don't know. It's just, are you the grammar police tonight?
No, I was fucking with you. You said it right.
Thank you. But yeah, so I think I don't know. To me, it's just up in the air for this episode. But yeah, hopefully next week, guys, we're back in the booth.
Yeah, we should be.
I feel fine, or getting better. But
Yes.
So I don't know what is next week's episode. Let me check real quick. So next week's episode is with my search box. Thank you, Joshua.
I think it's the ghost ship Mary Celeste.
Excuse me.
Huh?
I think it's the ghost ship Mary Celeste.
We are talking about Ghost Ship the Mary Celeste.
Should be good.
We haven't talked about ghosts in a while on the show. Since October when we were talking about demons. But I think ghosts we haven't talked about since the beginning of the show when we were talking about the ghosts in New Jersey, Dad.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's time.
I'll be honest, Mr. West had a very good idea, and I'll explain this to the people for this episode too. Mr. West wants to go back to our first season when it was just you and I and a little bit of episodes with them and
me.
And talk.
You don't count.
You don't count.
Take those episodes and update them to something to the four of us now.
Yeah, and have
five of us. I mean, we're not counting Cito here. You got to count Cito.
As Anthony just sitting on the side.
Nah, I was saying
we literally got 6 people now.
We should take what we did. We should take what we did back or what y'all did way back, like all the old conspiracies that we've all talked about individually and like what we think of them, and we should just like search out and reach out to people who have like actually like studied this their whole lives and like hear their input and stuff like that,
That works.
I have more guests.
Yeah. And I'm still working on that guest right now for the JFK thing. But yeah, so I think this is a good episode. Anthony, thank you for joining.
It's been your pleasure.
It's been your pleasure. Mr. I don't have a podcast. But we're gonna sit here and go to next week's episode, which is the Marriage to Less. I don't know if Ant, you want to join us next week for that.
Sure.
And I think
Joey thought for years. He thought for years it was called the Mama Celeste. So.
Wow.
Wow. Anyway, we're going to end this episode here. Thank you guys for joining. I'll see you back in the booth Thursday. Say good night to everyone.
Good night,
everybody.
Yeah, to me.
And we will catch you guys next week. Remember, guys, question everyone. Good night, everybody.
Konnichiwa, bitches. It's Ryu West speaking. If you want to find out more about the Is This Real podcast, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/isthisrealpc, or on Twitter at isthisrealpc, or on Instagram at isthisrealpodcast, all one word.